Great. Well, thank you for everybody for joining me today. I'm pretty excited to welcome Vanessa Ortali with us. Vanessa is a speaker and a coach and an entrepreneur, and she is the founder of the Ladies Community, TLC. I've had Vanessa a couple of years ago now, and I'm always inspired by the work that she's doing. She loves to bring people together and create friendships and abundance and moving people forward in their lives. And I think that's what's really unique about her as a coach as well, is she's got this beautiful blend of mindset and abundance with business and bottom line. And I find that very exciting. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Vanessa to talk to us about how we can make six figures in 6 months. Also something that I'm pretty keen to tune into. So over to you, my dear friend.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jennifer. I'm just going to share my screen. I put together a little presentation so that it's easy to follow. Okay. View slideshow. Okay, awesome. So everything I am going to be sharing with you today is from personal experience. I've done this, and these are the things that really help me and the things that I also see my clients making mistakes with. So I'm going to go through the 6 top mistakes as well people make that is holding them back from 6 figures. So if you're a coach, whether you're in the fitness industry, life, whatever, many of these things will still apply for you. I also have to say that I know many of us are in different industries. So if you want to have a free one-on-one strategy session for 2021, I'm happy to quickly hop on the phone with you, and then we can strategize how to actually put these things into play in your specific business. So let's get started. Okay, so who am I? Jennifer kind of told you already. I'm a speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. I mostly work with leaders and celebrities to help them scale their business. But most importantly, like Jennifer said, I really believe that we do not need to hustle anymore. The day and age where we just have to go, go, go and are in constant action, it doesn't have to be that way. So I still believe, especially as women, we can be empowering leaders and entrepreneurs while still feeling good and finding inner peace. My biggest thing is inner peace. I want to feel inner peace. I want to be inner peace. And I help my clients do that as well. So this specific workshop is for online entrepreneurs and coaches. Now, especially with COVID at the time of this presentation, we have been forced to move online. This was something that was happening anyways. Now we're just moving a little bit faster. So I'm actually kind of grateful because it's showing us how we can help more people around the world. And so I hope that these strategies will also help you to do that and know that people are still making money in this pandemic, and you can be one of those people. So here are the biggest mistakes that I see people making. Number 1, mindset. The only thing stopping you from achieving your dreams is you. And so often our thoughts and our limiting beliefs and comparing ourselves get in the way. So with all of these, it's so important to find the right support and help. Find the people that are going to point out your blind spots and that are going to support you in your goals as we move into the new year. The next mistake I see people making is knowing your numbers. What the heck does that mean? I'm going to dive deeper into this, but you need to know where your revenue is coming from. How much do you want to make in a month? And how are you going to make those numbers? Working backwards so that you can then build your packages, your sales, your marketing in order to support you to make those numbers. That will also often change your packages and pricing, which I'll go into a little bit later. So then the third error that people make is their packages and prices do not make sense, do not support their numbers and their lifestyle. So I'm going to teach you how to build a package and pricing to support your numbers. Creating an email list, a little show of hands for people that are with me live and or comment in the chat box. How many people do you have on your current email list? Your email list is also your money maker. You do not own your followers on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's so important to expand your email list so that you can control what content your community is actually receiving. And you also can start to better understand your numbers. So you know, what are the open rates? What are my conversion rates? And I'm going to show you how to build an email list in this presentation as well. I also have to mention this, you got to start showing up. Are you hiding behind everything? You are your own personal brand in today's day and age, especially as we move online. What is your brand? Do people know who you are? Do people know what you sell? Do people know what you offer? You have to start putting yourself out there and you have to start sharing. I don't want to overwhelm you. You do not have to do it every single day in the beginning, but you need to start sharing quality. And I'm going to show you how to show up as well, and a structure that you can use when you're showing up to build that know, like, and trust factor with your community to ultimately help you, help them, and increase your revenue and bottom line. Which brings us into the last mistake, is people just do not sell. Are you making the sale? Are you telling people how to buy, what they can buy? And are you confident in your sales abilities? We're going to go through that as well. So lots to chat about. I'm going to go through everything. So if you have questions, please pop them in the chat box or contact me one-on-one, and I'm happy to help you. So this is not a mindset presentation, but I did mention mindset. So like I said, I need you to know and reflect. Quick mindset tip, because I want to give you quick wins. This next week, set your alarm to go off every 2 hours. Every time that alarm goes off, I need you to ask yourself, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? With the holidays around us, this might change, but in a regular week, this is going to start to show you what is that movie, that subconscious programming, those internal dialogue thoughts that are happening without you knowing. So you need to start bringing that to the forefront. And also, like I said, getting the support, coaches, experts you need who can point out your blind spots so that you are no longer your worst enemy. Here, business strategy. I want you to know that it is possible. Small changes can make a big difference. This is a testimonial from one of my clients, and we're going to go into some of the exact strategies that she used and also I used to make 6 figures in 6 months. Honestly, if you are in a financial cul-de-sac or you are living in abundance right now, these strategies will work for you. I was personally in a situation where I couldn't even afford food. And I know it can be stressful. And that's why I also mentioned mindset, because I have other presentations for this, but knowing where you're at, what energy you're bringing to the table, regardless of what's going on around you. And I know it can be tough in today's society when we're forced to be in quarantine. We've been forced to change our lifestyle, our business. I want you to really reflect on, how are you perceiving this? Are you grateful for these changes? Are you adapting and pivoting, or are you feeling sorry for yourself and are you in victim mode? So make sure to keep that in your mind as we move into the strategy. The first thing I need you to consider, and each slide I'm going to give you tips and tools, so make sure you're writing this down. I need you to make sure you're very clear on who is your specific audience. Who are they? And I want you to write a list. So I need you to get a piece of paper, put 2 columns. On one side, you're going to write, what are the pain points of my audience? What's keeping them up at night? What are their challenges? What are they worrying about? The second column is, what are their dreams and desires? Where do they want to go? What do they want their life to look like? What results do they want to see? And it's important for you to always reevaluate these 2 lists, because as seasons change, the economy changes, their worries and desires will change. And the importance of doing this list is, it's going to help you with your sales. It's going to help you with your marketing. It's also going to help make sure that your package is actually solving a problem in the same way that your audience is perceiving their life. So I need you to get into their head. I need you to get into their worries, their problems. And are you communicating, here's where your client is, here's where they want to go? You have to now prove to your client that you are the bridge that's going to help them get to their desired outcome. And so this exercise is going to help you to do that and make sure that your messaging and your copy and your sales strategy aligns with your actual audience and what they need. Okay, your numbers. So I want you to put in the chat box and or write on a piece of paper, what is your monthly revenue goal? And here I put 100K for the annual because this presentation is make 6 figures in 6 months. If you want to put 200K, that's great. I don't care. Just put whatever number you want to make annual and monthly. And here's where we're going to break this down. If your package or offer, whatever you're selling, a product, a service, I need you to know these figures, right? So this is where your money is actually coming from. When I do this exercise with clients, it's only when they do this that they think, oh crap, I think I need to increase my pricing, because you're either going for volume where you want to sell 500 units at, let's say, $20. So that might be a membership or a download, especially if we're looking in the online space, or a physical product, maybe a journal. If we are looking at an actual package, a coaching, a consultation package, you're probably going for lower units, higher price point. And here's where we can start playing around with your numbers, because I also want you to consider how much time do you have in your day. So here's the thing with coaching is oftentimes you're trading your time for money, right? So if you only have 8 hours in a day, yes, how many hours are you actually going to spend coaching? How many coaching clients can you take in a day? If you can only take 4 clients in a day and you only want to work 2 or 3 days, that really caps you and limits your revenue potential. That's okay. We just need to know what that is, so then we can fill that in with other things and we can start to build out your strategy. However, I do not want you to get too complicated, especially in the beginning. So depending on your financial situation right now, if you want to make a lot of money fast, 6 figures, 6 months, go for high price point, low units. So when I did it, I was at a $3,000 to $5,000 price point. And so I didn't have to sell as many units, but I was still a selling machine. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later. I put here long-term cash, short-term cash. I really want you to consider when you're making your revenue goal, where is your cash coming from and when are you receiving it? This is really important, especially in the coaching world. If you're putting on events or you're building an online course, you might be spending 3 or 4 months building that and developing that. When is the money coming in? You may not get paid for that event for 4 months when the event actually happens. If something were to happen, you do not sell and or there's a pandemic and something happens, that cash flow is completely gone. So I want to make sure that you are sustaining and securing your short-term cash, money that you're making right now, this month, before you start working on those expansion opportunities where you are building a course. A little hack around that, if you are building a course, pre-sell it. So you get the money, you know how much you're selling, and then you end up selling it, you end up launching it later, but you've already gotten paid for it. I don't want to see you working on things right now, like a course, and then nobody buying it in 4 months, and then you end up in a really difficult financial position. So always make sure you secure your short-term cash. I secured all of my one-on-one clients at a higher price point before I started building a membership, before I started building a course and working on some more of that long-term cash. Ways to increase revenue, you can see here. So if you're looking at your numbers and you're thinking, well, I don't know how I'm going to reach 20K a month if I can only coach 3 days a week and take 3 clients a day. We can increase your price, increase the amount of sales. So can you take on more clients, or can we increase the number of transactions that one person does? So can that person do a one-on-one? Would that person also be part of your membership? Would that person also potentially buy your course? So you're increasing the number of transactions by one individual client. We can also increase the length of the program that they're purchasing from you. So is your sales cycle right now 1 month? Is it one session? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? So in an ideal world, we want you to set up programs and pricing, and we're going to get to that in the next slide, where you are running on a 6-month scale, right? So if you're only needing to sell 6 months, every 6 months, that makes your job a whole lot easier. If you are only selling 1-month packages, you have a high turnover and you're always trying to resell. So when we look at your numbers and your revenue strategy, we keep all of that into play. And again, let me know if you want to sit down, because I did the same thing with my coaches at that time when I thought, I really need to make money now. I looked at, okay, how can I change my package? I increased my prices. I increased the amount of time that the actual program was, and I increased my sales. And that, it sounds simple, but I want to remind you that business strategy is simple. It's not always easy, it's simple. So if we take these simple steps, you can see big results and a big difference. So how are we going to get to our numbers? Through our packages and pricing. So I want you know your numbers, work backwards. Know your audience, know what they want. You do not have to guess. Ask them. When is the last time you surveyed your audience? Do you know what they want? Do you know what they're looking for? If you end up following me on Instagram or in my Facebook community, I poll on a weekly basis. What are you doing? What are your challenges? What are you worrying about right now? What are your goals? And I'm always trying to stay on the pulse of my client. The great thing about surveying your audience, you can do it through social media or through other platforms like SurveyMonkey or Google. They'll also tell you what their challenges are in their language. So you can make sure you're speaking their language and communicating in a way that they understand. Next, I want you to have fun. So if you say to yourself, I need a $3,000 package, what would be fun? What would be fun to include? What does your client need? Beef up that package, make it good. It's okay for you to say, well, I only offer Reiki. I don't know how can I increase the price to my package if I only offer Reiki? Well, that's when we got to start brainstorming. It's okay to also bring in collaborators. So if you say, you know what, my clients are really challenged with stress and anxiety right now. What could they use? Well, they could use a massage. They could use a makeover. They could use a nutrition session. I want you to start thinking outside the box, because in order for you to build a $3,000, $5,000 package, you might be able to collaborate with a nutritionist, a massage therapist, and make this bundle so appealing that your client looks at it and says, wow, I'm getting a lot and this is everything I need. So don't be afraid to collaborate if you cannot provide everything in the package. This also works really well for year-long masterminds and when you really start getting in your head of what your ideal target demographic needs and wants. Okay, so here I say again, start with one package. Don't complicate it. A mistake I often see people making is they're going to have 10 offers. Oh, well, I have a group. I have a 1 month. I have a 3 month. I have a 6 month. The problem with this is I need you, especially if you want to make 6 figures in 6 months, blinders on. I need you to get really clear with your call to action to your client. I need you to get really clear on what you're selling. That way, when you get on a sales call, when you're sending out emails, it is really clear what can people buy, how can they work with you, and it's also really clear for you. What are you selling? And you are a lot more confident on your sales call. So we are now moving into your email list and lead generation. So what this part is how do we do 2 things. How do we capture the emails of your current community, and how do we expand your current community and capture their emails as well? So there's a couple of different options. Here are some really great ways to capture emails through opt-ins. An opt-in, a freebie, a lead page, they're all the same thing. I want you to put in the chat box right now, how many of you have a freebie or an opt-in that you offer to collect an email? So what this means is you have a landing page, and I'll go into a little bit more of the technical after, but you have a landing page where somebody has to put in their email and or their phone number in order to receive free resources and free content from you. Okay? Different content that you can use. You can use a webinar. It can be live or recorded. You can do a 5-day, a 7-day challenge. You can do a summit or retreat. You can do a freebie, an ebook, a checklist, a worksheet that people have to give you their email in order to get the resources. This is one of the fastest ways to build your email list if done correctly. And one thing that's really important to note with your freebie, I want you to make sure that your free content is actually bringing forward your target demographic. So for example, if you're in the nutrition industry, a freebie that's 5 ways to network isn't bringing the people that are downloading 5 ways to network may not be interested in your product or your offer. So I want you to be very clear on this free content, who's going to download it, and is this my ideal target demographic so that I can later nurture them, provide them resources, and potentially turn them into a client. So the email list, this is a mistake that I made early on when people said, oh, well, why aren't you collecting these emails? Make sure you have the emails so you can sell and continue to nurture that relationship with your client. So here's a little bit more detail as to what an opt-in is. So you can do your webinar, live or virtual, which I just said, a summit or retreat. What that is you are going to be interviewing 8 to 20 people, experts. Now it's important that these people have an email list. It's important to collaborate with the right people, especially when your main goal is to build your email list. So you want to make sure that these people have an email list of over 5,000 people so that they can also promote the summit, promote this retreat to their email list and to their community. That way it'll be sending more people and you're kind of all going to be collaborating. It's a win-win situation for everybody involved. And if you want more questions about this, you can, or if you have more questions, feel free to ask. I've run a summit. I'm doing another one in January and February. One thing to keep in mind is the summit does take a little bit more time because you're interviewing people. You can also do a summit or retreat live or virtual. Make sure you're accepting emails and make sure that the content will bring about your ideal target demographic. You can do a challenge, like I just said, and here are a couple other ideas for different freebies. Ebook, PDF, checklist, secrets, tips, super fun. Pick one, only pick one, and take one at a time. I find that there's 2 types of entrepreneurs. There's the entrepreneur that's go, 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 always in action mode, always creating and always moving. And then there's the entrepreneur who is always thinking, always creating in the back end and never puts things out there. You kind of want to be a mixture of both, where you're creating, you're mastering, and then you're moving to the next. I mentioned this again when we talked about numbers and packages, right? So you want to pick one, master it, and go. If we're always trying to create new things, we're never actually learning sales. We're never learning how to communicate. We're never learning how to master how we communicate to our audience. We're never mastering who our audience is. So if you aren't seeing success in what you're doing right now, it could be some small changes, and sales is often the solution, becoming better at sales. When you create your freebie or your opt-in, here's some of the technical. We could do an entire presentation on this, but just quickly, if you need an email or a landing page, really good resources, you can use Kajabi or Kartra. They're big platforms. You can use Lead Pages, Flowdesk, ConvertKit. I need you to know your tech. Where are you hosting your emails? And what's the technology? Where are you collecting your emails so that you can further send them additional communication? Here's where it's really beautiful and you can start to automate your business and create sales and money while you're sleeping. If you have an email list, you can create automatic emails, anywhere from 3 to 10 emails, whatever you want, that is providing content, providing resources, and ultimately giving your client a call to action and a next step to take. So it's really important to know what that next step is and to lay out, what is my customer experience? What is my customer journey? How are they coming in? How are they finding out about me? And then what happens to them along the customer journey? And I'm gonna show you a layout of what that looks like. But before I get there, I want you to show up. So like I said in the intro, if people were to look at you and your brand, would they know who you are and what you sell? I want you to think about the rule of thirds. Provide 1/3 of your content should be shareable, savable content. 1/3 of your content should be you sharing your personal, your vulnerability, your story. And 1/3 should be tips and tools and actual knowledge. If your clients can get small wins now by free resources, they're more likely to pay you, and because they will trust you that you can actually get them results. So with the rule of thirds, you're going to start to build that know, like, and trust factor with your client, so they start to look at you as an expert in your field. Provide value, like I just said, and make a plan. If you need more help with how to build out your social media and your marketing strategy and how to show up, I have an entire presentation on that. I'm happy to send it to you. But the main thing to take away from this is look at your pain points list. What are their challenges? What are their desires? And start giving them tools and secrets and tips to see results now. Don't be afraid of giving too much information. I was very uncertain about this when I first started expanding and scaling my business. And I'd say to my coaches, what do I give? How do I know what is too much? And they all said, it's never too much. If people were to attend all of your free workshops, look at all of your videos, look at all of your social media, that's pretty much your course. It's pretty much your one-on-one, but no one's going to do that. And people pay for convenience. People pay for you to organize it in the right format and in the right way just for them. So one structure that I really like if you struggle showing up on social media is follow these 4 steps. So write this down. You want to tell them what you're going to tell them, like an email heading. You're going to tell them their pain point. Tell them why it's important to them. And I'll give you an example of this. So if you're saying, I'm going to give you 5 tips to alleviate your anxiety, your pain point's going to say, I know you're sitting at home in your head, not actually doing anything because you're so worried about where the money is going to come from or what's going to change in your life. You want them to read that next line and then think, yes, she is talking to me. That's me. She gets me. Once you have them hooked so that they say, yes, this is me, this content is for me, you give them the tip. So your 3rd step, give them the tip, give them the value. 4th step, give them a call to action. Where do you want them to go from here? Do you want them to register for something? Do you want them to call you? Do you want them to sign up for another event? Make sure you're understanding that customer journey. And we're going to go into this in the next slide. Another fun way to present information is myth and truth. This is the old way of doing it. This is the new way. I kind of incorporated that in this presentation when I said, here are 6 mistakes everybody's making. Don't do that. I even mentioned it when, the old way of hustle and grind is not necessary. We can still be mindful, present, and super great entrepreneurs. So let's go through that customer journey. So here's an example. Again, here are multiple possibilities. Your customer journey can just be one, and that's okay. Start small, get really clear on what your customer journey is and where your money is coming from. So technically we're going to start backwards, because if you know your money's coming from one-on-one coaching, where are those people coming from? How do they get to that purchase? So I'll take you through this. They can be coming in originally from Instagram, Facebook, a webinar like we're doing here, a free resource. Then what happens? What's the call to action that you're giving them? Well, if it's a higher ticket item, you're more likely to have higher conversions on a one-on-one call. Are you getting on the phone with people? So I'm going to assume you're making 6 figures in 6 months. We're doing a higher ticket item. We're needing to get people on the phone. So you want them to book a call. Once they book a call, then you can end up selling them your offer, your one-on-one program, whatever it is, your course, your mastermind. If it's a lower ticket item and you're going for volume over with a lower ticket price point for the purchase, then you may be able to do your call to action and they may be able to purchase through email or through resources without needing to get on the phone. Here's one specific example. If you're just using Instagram and you want to focus on that, you could technically have this tree with every single way people are coming in. So you can see how if you are a big picture person, I'm trying to appeal to people that think many different ways. You can start to envision this customer experience map where this is where people are coming from. Where do they go from here? So if people are coming in from Instagram, you can send them to a webinar. You can send them to a one-on-one call. You can send them to a freebie. If people come in from your webinar, where do they go from there? They can maybe from your webinar go to a one-on-one call or go to an event. If they're coming in from your one-on-one, if they're on your call, where do they go from there? They can purchase your one-on-one program, your course, whatever, and you can see how it goes from there. If people are getting a freebie, what communication are they getting via email after they've received the information? A one-on-one call, their next event. So you can kind of understand how the whole structure works. So I need you to make sure, as an entrepreneur, we do have to wear many different hats. I want you to make sure that your schedule, you are planning time to work in your business versus on your business. What's the difference? The information we're talking about right now, this is information and strategy that you're going to consider when you're working on your business expansion versus in your business. That's when you're actually getting on the calls. That's when you're actually doing the coaching. Often I see people's schedules, they have no time to work on their business and plan automation, plan how to scale, plan a new offer because they're so busy working on the day to day. So I need you to make sure within your schedule, you're creating space to work on your business as well as in your business. We're getting to the good stuff. Okay, I love sales. And if you don't, I understand why, but we need to change that relationship with sales so that you can start bringing in the money because you deserve it. I want you to think about money, and your sales and your revenue is a reflection of all of the people you helped. Get out of your own way and start making the sale. Sales is not about you. So I want you to ask yourself, are you good at sales? Are you selling? And what do your numbers look like? Are you getting on the calls? If you are getting on the calls, are you able to convert them? Knowing your numbers, especially in sales, is going to help you to figure out where your leaks are. And when I say leaks, I mean where your blind spots and you need to push your effort. So for example, if you're not getting the one-on-one calls, we know your leak is there. We know you need to get more leads. We know you need to put yourself out there. If you're getting the one-on-one calls and you're not selling them on the call, we know we need to improve your communication and sales when you're on the call. So I want you to pay attention because this is going to help you figure out your strategy moving forward and where you should focus your time. Okay. So within your key communication, I've mentioned this in the beginning of the presentation. You need to know where are your clients now, where do they need to go, and why are you the solution that's going to get them to their end goal? And make sure you communicate that in your marketing and in your sales and when you get on the phone with them. If you want my sales script for my sales calls, let me know I'm happy to give it to you. It has worked so well for me and my clients, and it makes a really big difference. So within sales, you have your one-on-one, but I also want to mention here, oftentimes people will jump too quickly to automation in sales. I want you to honor where you're at in your journey. Honor where you are in your growth process. Everything you're experiencing right now is helping you become a better leader, a better entrepreneur. Don't skip through the sales process. Become a master at sales so that you can teach other people and that you can scale. There becomes this fine line between what should I outsource and what should I learn. And so I want you to really consider, are you trying to outsource things that you actually need to learn to be a better entrepreneur? Or are you at the point where you can outsource? So start small. I see this within how many offers, right? So start small, sell the one, become good at sales. Sales should be 80% of your business. Are you spending, what percentage of your time right now are you spending on sales? Because it should be 80%. If it's not, work it up. You're trying to make 6 figures in 6 months. I need you to spend more time on sales, guaranteed. If you want to learn more and you're at the point where you want to automate some of those sales, automate some of the launches, I highly recommend the book Launch by Jeff Walker. Super simple and it's really helpful. I also want to draw some attention to ads. I often see people jumping into ads way too quickly. They do not know their offer. They do not know that their offer sells. They don't know the language. They haven't surveyed. They don't know the customer experience and the customer journey. So they have no idea where they're sending people. Don't get caught in the trap where you do ads too early. Make sure you have evidence of success and you're very clear on what this structure looks like so that when you do ads, you can see higher conversions and your money's actually going somewhere. I'm a big believer on lowering your costs, especially in the beginning of your business, and then you can use that money and reinvest it in your business. I don't want you blowing all your money on a fancy website, on ads. If you're going to spend your money on a coach and or an expert that can help you in where you are right now. And then you can make the revenue and then invest that into your business because your livelihood and you living is important. I do not want you to struggle. And so I want to make sure that you're lowering your expenses, especially in the beginning of your business. One thing you can do right now, if you're not ready for ads, is get a Facebook pixel. Google it, figure out how to get your Facebook pixel. You need a Facebook page, business page, and you can actually get a pixel and it's just basically an HTML code that Facebook will spit out for you. You can embed it in your website, in your, you can't do it in your emails, I don't think, but in your website, in your lead pages. And what it does is it starts to gain data, it starts to gather information of who's going to your website, what are they clicking on, what is the profile of this person, so that when you do ads later, you have a lot more data and information so you can make sure that your ads are more targeted and more effective. All right, so in summary, we have covered so much today, and I know this is just the surface. So if you need more support and you want to tackle an area or you want to know, okay, this is all great, Vanessa, where do I go from here? Honestly, send me a DM on Instagram, send me an email. I'll pop that up on the next slide. I am happy for you and for Jennifer being in this community. I'm happy to give you a free consultation where I can help you build out that strategy and get a little bit more clarity on what are your next steps so that you can make sure to reach your goals in 2021. My goals are reaching 7 figures in 2021. So that's what I'm working on with my coaches. All coaches have coaches. So don't be ashamed. Make sure you have the support because as you learn and grow, you continue to share that information to others. So in summary, we talked about mindset. Know your mindset, set your alarm on your phone every 2 hours and ask yourself, what am I thinking? How am I feeling? Know your numbers. How much do you want to make every month and annually? And where's the revenue coming from? What do your packages look like? Your revenue. what is the prices? How many do you need to sell? And is this package what your clients actually want, or does it need to be modified for you and your client? Create an email list. What is your initiative that you're going to take to expand your email list? Is it going to be a webinar, a summit, a free download, a worksheet, whatever that is? Are you showing up? Plan your marketing sales strategy. Make sure you're showing up, you're showing people who you are, and you are building that know, like, and trust factor with your community. And lastly, but definitely not least, improve your sales. Make more sales. What percentage of your time is spent on sales? 80% of your time should be spent on sales. So make sure you create time and space in your calendar in the next year to have time to work in your business versus on your business. So that's it. So make sure to ask for help. You do not have to do this alone. I know it can be overwhelming sometimes. So here's my Instagram. I am Vanessa O, and my email, iamvanessao@gmail.com. So please reach out, tell me what resonated with you and how I can help you further. I'm so passionate at helping other entrepreneurs because I've been there, and I really don't want you to struggle in silence, because I've literally been at the point where I was in bed just like questioning everything. What is my purpose? Like, why am I here? What is this all here for? And I definitely have had suicidal thoughts in the process. And I share that with you because I do not want you to feel alone. And sometimes I know it can feel like you don't know a way out and you don't know how you're going to reach your goals, and you are spinning your wheels. You are just on the hamster wheel and you can't find a way off. Find the support you need, because I've been there and I know you can get out of it. This too shall pass. So take the right steps to get there. I love you, and I'm so proud of you for everything that you've put into your business so far. That's it.
That's amazing, Vanessa. That's so good. I've got a notepad here with a lot of notes. I know the slides, and we'll circulate the video as well.
Yeah.
But certainly a lot to do. And some of the stuff is like, you're like, oh yeah, of course I should do that. But it's that knowing doing, right? And we've spoken about this before, but how do you take everything that you know and actually put it into action and start doing? So I found this presentation very, very helpful. There's a question here from Jolene. How did you learn to do this? How did you change your thought patterns for time management?
Well, I feel like there's a few questions in there. Time management is a little bit of trial and error to figure out what works for you, and also knowing how you work best. So for me, I can only take 4 calls in a day. I know that that's how I can best present myself to my clients. So be easy on yourself, see a little bit of trial and error. I can send you some productivity workshops that I've done with additional productivity tips, but that's kind of the productivity piece. How I did this and my mindset piece has taken years and lots of coaching. This goes back to actually what Jennifer and I were talking about earlier this week of this, and what she just mentioned is this knowing and doing gap. I guarantee all of you, you read the self-development books, you know everything, you know what to do. Here's the difference. I was there too, and I thought I knew, and then I hired a coach, and she was able to say to me, Vanessa, what you just did there, what you just thought there, that is not in alignment with the person that I know you are and the tools that I know you know. You're not actually doing the do. This is the difference between, this is the movement from your head to your heart. Stop thinking and knowing, you have to start being. And once you start being, I am telling you, your business will flourish, the money will flow, and people will come to you. I'm not even kidding.
It's like unblocking, isn't it? It's like lifting a dam or cracking the dam, and it all starts to flow and move through.
Yeah.
We had another question from Facebook from Brenda. Can you just repeat what you said about how you can use the Facebook pixels and how you can use it more effectively?
Yeah, so get a Facebook page, business page. Within the Facebook business page, and just Google it. Just say, how do I get my Facebook pixel? because you have to click on a couple things and I don't know offhand what those are. But once you are in your business page, you can just set up a business Facebook pixel. It's going to boot out basically an HTML link. That HTML link is now going to go in the back end of your website, and it's going to actually show you where to put it on your website, and it'll show you where to put it in your opt-in page. So I personally use lead pages. So when I go into lead pages, I just pop in the HTML in the header, I believe, of my opt-in page, and then it starts collecting data like a little engine. And so it's going to be like your little computer collecting data on all the people that click on your stuff. I mean, love-hate relationship, right? Because it's doing it to us, but it's really useful when we can also use that in our business.
Slightly creepy, but very, very helpful.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been great. If you had to, like, reading all this and taking notes, sometimes with this as, you know, a solopreneur, it can be very overwhelming as well if you're doing it on your own. Would you pick like the top 2 things you would start with? Because actually, when you look at something, and this has to do with mindset and a bit to Jolene's question as well, is when you look at something, it can be so big and it can feel overwhelming, right? But if you could break it down into little doable pieces, everything is very doable. Can you recommend any place to start for the people who are in the group? Would you do it just in the order, or any kind of like key areas to focus on?
100%. So I'm going to answer these 2 questions. Okay, there's 2 areas. Let me rephrase. So you have your current community and then expanding your current community. So we're going to start on your current community. How do you get their emails, and what money are you leaving on the table? Start showing up with your current community right now. Collect their emails with a freebie and make sure you're showing up and giving a call to action. Get them on calls. Once you feel like you've maxed out your current community, and you never really do because there's always creepers that are watching and they might come back 6 months later, then you can start really focusing on your initiative to expand. So then I would think about a summit, collaborating with different experts, really expanding your email list, expanding your community, and then you do the same thing, getting on sales and making sure that you're giving them the right program and offer. So to answer your question really simply, focus on your community right now, collect their emails, give them an offer. So you have to know what that offer is. Make sure you're coming to the table with the best offer. So if you want to throw your offer by me, let me know. And I'm happy to just even over Messenger be like, yeah, that sounds great, or beef it up a bit, or increase your price. And then you just start selling. So sales, collect emails. That's it.
It's actually really fascinating for the coaches who do have a community right now, asking, and I know, Vanessa, you do this in your group a lot, is you ask people how they're feeling, what they're thinking. We've just gone through this exercise as well in the Tellent community. And I really, really enjoy this experience, and it's given me so much insights as well, so many insights as well about what people are actually thinking and feeling. And then I can take that and talk about my marketing and how that solves a problem, how that takes them from a pain point to a brand new day or something that's changed. But the journey in getting that information, it doesn't have to be like, oh, so much work to do it. It's actually been really fun.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it through phone calls, talking to my community, booking half-hour phone calls in the last couple of weeks. And it's so great to actually have those face-to-faces and build that relationship as well.
Yeah. The thing I love about it too is it takes you out of the equation. You do not have to figure anything out. I would have never expected my business to be what it is today. You just keep asking questions and following the next best step. And you just completely surrender to the fact that, like, I don't know anything. I just want to serve and help. So let me know how I can help you. And it's just really beautiful.
I say it as getting curious, just asking questions, getting really curious. And it's always fun to hear and learn from other people and share in other people's energy as well, and figure out where that pinpoint is with what brings them joy and what lights them up has been really fun. And it's actually one of the things we've been doing in the Tellent community. So we have a virtual networking platform, and we have a number of coaches on that platform, is actually coming together and brainstorming ideas on how we can collaborate to lift each other up and support all of each other's businesses. And it's a bit to the idea of your summit, in that how do you collaborate where it's everybody wins, because all the coaches out there, they all provide slightly different services, or even if they provide the exact same service, it's delivered through a different personality. So operating on the idea of abundance and generosity, it's how can we help each other? How can we all lift each other up? Because I think that, to your point earlier, in you having your coaches, I think everybody can benefit from having somebody that has their back and wants them to be successful and reach their goals.
Yeah.
Nothing it.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard me talk about this a lot in the group, is just to find a coach or find someone to work with to really help you pull out the greatness that already exists within you.
Yeah. And also know that it's kind of like dating. Not one person is perfect for everything. I have 3 coaches. And it doesn't mean that they're not great. They're just all great at their thing, right? I have my business coaches who can be a little bit type A and who are super like go, go, go. So I also need a spiritual coach to make sure that I'm staying connected to my truth and like who I am. So just know you and what you need based on where you're at right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? We had a couple come through there. If nothing comes through now, I am going to send the presentation out to anyone who's registered for this session. And if you haven't registered and you would like a copy, then just send me a direct message and I will make sure it gets sent to you. So Vanessa, thank you so much for your time and for sharing this today. It's been amazing. If any of the coaches on the call want to stick around for 5 minutes, in the Zoom call, I'm going to go off live on Facebook and we can have a discussion here if anyone wants to share best practices or some of the things that's really worked for them. So I'm just going to go off live here. So now we're not broadcasting. But if there's anyone in the group here, we've got, 9 of us here on the call. If there's anyone who wants to share or ask any questions of the other coaches as well, or shared lessons learned, then, I invite you to unmute yourself and ask away. And plus we have Vanessa here for another 7 minutes. So we might as well make the most out of it.
I'll see your cat's making an appearance now.
I told you. That's what
Hello.
cats, but this I think everybody in my Tellent community now, all my calls is cats on them.
Right? It's so sweet.
I know. And the thing is I love that dang cat. It's so
I know.
sweet.
I'm with you. Yeah. Even if people don't have any questions, what also might help is for you to either put in the chat box or go live, like, what are you taking away from this? So that you can keep yourself accountable and maybe even keep each other accountable within the community. So you can, connect. So Jolene might say to Sunita, like, you didn't do this, or how can I help you? And then that way you kind of know the direction that people are going to take from this presentation.
I'm going to go.
Okay.
Everyone's thinking about it or taking themselves off mute. Oh, Maeve, you're off mute. Do you want to say something?
Yes, sure. I was going to say one of the things I'm taking away, and thank you, Vanessa, was that 333, that third content that's shareable, third personal story, and third tips-free resources. I hadn't thought of it in those terms, and that's sort of very clarifying for me.
Awesome. Thank you, Maeve.
It makes it doable. I feel like when you break it down to be that simple, it takes the overwhelm out of it. When I'm launching new products or projects, often I get very overwhelmed. I see the big vision, and the big vision is easy for me, where it's going and how it's helping and what I'm doing. And then when it comes down to like, holy, now what? How do I build it? Or not less the build, I'm okay with the build, but how do I sell it and get out there and start talking and build those click funnels? And when it's new, I think it's sometimes very overwhelming. But my takeaway from today is really that it doesn't have to be. And I wrote down one of the things I'm working through is doing the customer journey, mapping out the customer journey and really getting clear, as I said earlier, on who my customer is. but I haven't done it like this before, like that map that you drew on the customer journey. And I think that's really important because I think that I'm losing a lot of potential customers in that customer journey by not capturing emails, by just giving away the freebie,
Right.
or by not following up after webinars. So I found that as a key takeaway and really interesting.
Yeah. And there's so much to do, right? So I feel like if you just tackle one automation or one thing at a time, then you'll get there. There's lots of things, even in my customer journey, I wish that we were capitalizing more, but I'm just going to be easy on myself and be like, one thing at a time, just trust where I am right now, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
Would anyone else like to share?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay,
Hey,
Selena.
Vanessa. Thank you, first of all, both of you. Lovely presentation. It certainly brought some clarity and ideas. I have a question. What does a typical day or a week look like? How do you divide it?
Yeah.
Do you is every Tuesday your marketing days? That's where you sit down and it's just marketing. I'm just trying to create my calendar and break it down. Yeah.
Great.
Looking
Yeah.
for tips.
That's perfect. So what I do short-term and long-term planning. So every month I look at my 3 big rocks. What are the 3 things I'm going to focus on this month only? And then that way when things come up throughout the month and they don't fall in those 3 blocks, I say no. So, and honestly, I'm even lowering that to 1 or 2 now. Like January, I'm just focusing on sales and my freebie. That's it. And developing more of that content. So just focus on less in more time, basically. Give yourself the full month to figure it out. And then what I do is on the weekly, on Sunday, I'll set up my nice to-dos for the end of the week. So I say, okay, what would be a successful week for me? What do I want to get done this week? And then every day I plan for the night before. So I say, okay, what do I actually have to do tomorrow? And you'll notice I do less all the time. So then I'm saying, well, the only thing I actually have to do tomorrow is one thing. I have to send this email. Then I allow myself the space. And here's where that spiritual part comes in, where I want you to get into alignment. I want you to follow your intuition. I want you to follow what's right for you. And by giving yourself a little bit more space, you can follow that inspiration. You send out the email and you go, wow, I have so much time today. What do I want to do? What do I feel called to do? And then I move towards the feeling and the calling. So in my actual week, I only coach Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 4 hours. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I get to do whatever I want. And I love that. And that's what works for me because my natural personality is very go, go, go. So I need to create a little bit more space for me. I do have clients that are great with space. They lean into the more like, I don't do anything. I just flow all the time. So for them, we do need to create a little bit more structure, but I want you to honor who you are and what's best for you. Is that helpful?
Yeah, it certainly is. I feel that I'm on the right path right now. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thank you for the insight.
Okay,
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to say thank you again, Vanessa. This has been, like I said, very insightful, very helpful. And yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing to follow you and seeing some of the other great content that you're putting out. I love being around you. I find it just very rewarding. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your energy and your passion and for helping all of us on this call.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I so appreciate you bringing me into this community. And I'm just thrilled with all of the women here and everything that you're creating. It's so wonderful. So
Me too, actually. I quite like them as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, happy holidays to everybody. And thank you again, Jennifer.
No, my pleasure. And be well to everybody else on the call as well. Look after yourselves and have fun and try and get some relaxation in.
Yeah. Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.